Hello individuals, I just recorded this video like a couple of times actually, but my hair was out, so I put it up in a beanie to make myself feel better, and always, because it's like always in a beanie. Anyway, so 2 days ago was National Coming Out Day, and I sort of, like, I wanted to make a video about it, but also I guess it's not really about coming out per se. I didn't know it was National Coming Out Day until I went on Facebook and a bunch of people were posting statuses about how, like, coming out and telling people, you know, what they identified as, and I was like, oh, okay, so this is what's happening. I watched a BuzzFeed video in which there was an interesting point that was made, and like something that really struck me and like really stuck with me. And basically there was a point that was made about like an individual has to be the one to evaluate when's the right time, and if there even is a right time, like should you even do it at all. And it's something I kind of wish I knew years ago, because years ago I had come out as a lesbian to my family and I wasn't ready to do it, and I felt, I felt pressured. There was someone that I had that I was like in love with, and that I was in love with, and you know, we talked about me possibly, you know, coming out to my parents one day, and she was sort of like the support for me, but also I always felt like she was kind of pushing me to do it, and I think it's because her process went so well, and I wish I knew at the time that just because somebody else's went well and like I've heard good stories doesn't mean that mine would, and it didn't at all. And I kind of wish I could go back and tell myself not to, and tell myself to just, you know, don't do it, it's not. But also I did it because I didn't think I was going to live through it. It was during, like, in the middle of a suicide attempt. I wrote it in a letter, and I just wasn't expecting to ever have to actually say it or have to deal with any of the consequences. So I mean, you know, I don't fully regret it, and also like I guess in a way it's good because then I got to sort of see what it might even be like to come out to them as trans one day. And I mean, I didn't know it that at the time, but now I know it now, and I look back at it and I'm like, you know, I sort of get the feeling, and that's the reason why I'm not coming out, and I wish I didn't have to, and if there was a way for me to avoid it, I would. And it sucks that I don't have that ability and I don't have that chance. Sorry. I guess that's what I sort of envy about the queer community, is that if they want to hide it, they can, because no one really has to know other than their partners. And when it comes to being trans, like, I think if you've already, I know people who are trans, like, once they've already made all of the medical necessities that they, like, all of the medical things that they need, it sort of becomes whether or not they want to come out as trans people, if they're, you know, if they don't have to, if they look the way that they've always wanted to, I guess. I don't know if that makes any sense. I don't want to say the word pass because I know that might be a problem for people, but basically when someone starts passing and like it becomes their decision whether or not they want to tell people. But for someone like me who hasn't really started making any medical transitions other than like social transitions, I kind of have no choice, and it sucks. Like, I have to be out. But now it's my parents. Okay, so, but this video was originally supposed to be about, though, other than that, was sort of reflecting on what it's like to live a double life. It's something that I've mentioned before in videos, and I mentioned a lot of my life, and I sort of say it casually, but it's not casual. It's stressful, and it sucks, and I hate it, and like, I've been doing it for years. I've been living like this for years, but it doesn't get any easier. In fact, it only gets more difficult. I first started living a double life when I was role-playing on Twitter before the summer of 8th grade, and I came up with what was then my nickname, which eventually became my name, and it sort of now is back to a nickname. I came up with the name Danny because I was scared of like online predators, and I wanted to keep my identity safe. So I started off like that. I hid what I was doing, and like I at the time was sort of exploring who I was growing up, and I was so used to being this like uber perfect Christian, and like I grew up that way, and to now I was starting to explore who I was, and like So in school I started going by my name, and like that's sort of when it started. When I started high school, I was a little more familiar with, at the time, what my sexual orientation, and so I would, you know, there were days that I would like step on my house, I'd put a pin on, I'd like put something rainbow on, and like that's how it sort of spiraled. When I first started exploring my gender identity, and there were days that I felt a little more masculine, had strategies. I would like wake up super early so nobody would have to see me dressed a certain way, or I would go to school and then change there and then like change back, and like that's, you know, and after a while, the more that I explored my gender, the more that I started to realize that I was a trans guy, I guess the more difficult it became, because now I dress masculine, and it's because it's who I am, and it's like, you know, it makes me feel comfortable, and like I do very little things, but things that I still have to be very cautious of. I like flip my septum ring up, I will take my hair out of my hat before I get home, I'll pull my pants up, and even if they're man jeans, I'll pretend like they're high-waisted jeans, and like, and then they fall down because they're not conformed to, you know, the body of a female or whatever. And it's not, I mean, I guess those seem like little things, but it is stressful, because I don't have the ability to necessarily start, you know, things like a name change and things like surgeries and all that because of my position at home. And, you know, I guess I'm jealous of the people who have that ability to come out or who have done it. But yeah, so I don't recommend, and I wish, I know I'm not the only one that's like this, and I know I'm not the only one who lives with this situation, and I kind of like, I wish that nobody had to deal with this, because it's painful. It's painful not being able to be open with the people that you love the most about who you are. It's painful having to constantly be cautious of like how you are at home versus how you are in like the real world, and like it's weirder being with my family and being outside, because I'm so used to outside being like where I'm comfortable, but then like all of a sudden I have to sort of try to find this like middle space to where I'm comfortable in this androgynous space, but also, you know, not making them uncomfortable. It's a lot of thought, and I'm sure there's more details that I can go in this, but I can't really think of much. My dog has me disoriented from all the working. Anyway, so yeah, that's all I've got to say. And remember, if you are questioning yourself, and if you know who you are and you want to come out, it ultimately is your decision, and it should be based on your time and no one else's. Sometimes it'll happen, you know, I've heard stories, and also it's happened to me, where you're not expecting it to come out, and think something might happen, somebody will find out, and like then you have to deal with it. But just know that support systems are important, and you're not alone. So yeah, if you watched up to here, thank you so much. Subscribe, like, or comment. You can give an individual their wings, and if you subscribe, you can join my winged family. My social media is over there, and then my last video, which I can't remember what I made the video about, is below me. Yeah. That's it, right? Okay. Bye. When I first started living a double life, it was before the summer of 8th grade, when I had started, okay, rude. I first started living a double life when I, honorable, rude, and like, I was exploring